How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid and we're going to be talking about MULLEN. We also have Tesla that's coming out with earnings on Wednesday. I'll talk about how that can impact both of these stocks and the EV sector going into tomorrow. But of course, we have to go over the fact that Lucid was able to actually close above the psychological area at 20 bucks. And of course, for MULLEN, it does continue to barcode, but there are some things that I want to point out. And on top of that, we're going to be taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for both of these stocks as well. And if you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. So let's get into those videos right now. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $20.38, being up 2.10%. On the low, it tested $19.86, and then on the high, testing $20.55. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 11.21 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 15.51 million shares. So we have below average volume on the day, but we still saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a 15-minute chart, you can see all of our key levels that we've made since the previous videos and videos before that, and Lucid still continues to be on a strong uptrend. And having that close above $20, you know how important that is for the stock. So what we want to see as far as for the high, yes, we did get to $20.55, but we want to see a break above $20.61. If we get this break above $20.61, that's where we can get that move going to $21. And then, of course, for the short-term price target being at $22.50. If we decide to have a pullback, since we did test 1986, I'm expecting a higher low. If we can get a higher low, let's say around 1990 or even at $20, that would be a great look for this stock. So that's something you're going to want to keep on watch. As far as for weakness is concerned, like I was saying, I don't see a lot of weakness coming in unless it trades below 1750. But if we do have a break below the low of the day at 1986, we also see that there's a gap that needs to be filled right here around 1966, which is not too far off whatsoever. So that's just one thing you want to keep in mind as well. And if we did get down to this level, I could see us getting to 1934, and then of course I'd be looking for a bounce. But do keep in mind, as far as for the short term, this does break the uptrend, but for the long term, as you can clearly see here, Lucid is doing very well. Let's see if that momentum can continue. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings we have here for July the 19th, we have Herald Insurance Investment and Financial Services Limited that purchased 5,649 shares, and we have Heritage Financial Services LLC that purchased 75 shares. When we see MV Capital Management Inc., they purchased 15 shares. We have some closed positions here from Northquest and Equitech, and we also see that for Johnson Midwest Financial LLC, they purchased 239 shares, and PSI Advisors LLC that purchased 830 shares. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 50.48%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 3.39 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 400,000, updated 12 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 14.45%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we could see for the close for last week, Friday, it was at 65.92, and then for the close for yesterday, it is at 50.48. So that is still up there. And when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float, it is at 23.39%. So Lucid continues to have short squeeze potential. So we're going to take a look at the chart from MULLEN. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.09, being up 2.83%. On the low, it tested $1.02, and then on the high, testing $1.10. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 35.66 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 47.601 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and we did see some strength in the stock. When we take a look at our chart, which is a 15-minute chart, I want to show you guys the reason why MULLEN has gotten the nickname in regards to just barcoding. So it has been doing that, but one thing that is clear, we are seeing higher lows. You can see right away we tested the low at $1.02, and then we were able to test the highs of $1.10. 10 cents. And seeing that and knowing that we now have support right here at this 200 EMA, which is around $1.07, this is definitely going to be an area to watch. If MULLEN can stay above at least 105, maybe we can end up forming a higher low than 102. That's where I want to see the retest to 110 and then seeing if it can move up further. And what would that look like? You'd want to see it get to 112, and of course the level, like I talked about in my previous video, being at 114. If it could reclaim 114 and hold support, that's where things start getting interesting. But if it decides to come back to retest $1, that's when we can have the possibility where it could pull back to 95 cents. So that's why you want to make sure you add that to your homework as well. But overall, great to see that MULLEN was able to pull off a green day. Let's see if that momentum can continue. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information from MULLEN. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 19th, we have Herald Insurance Investments Financial Services Limited that purchased 20,000 shares, and we have Key Client Fiduciary Advisors LLC that purchased 35,000 shares. And the other filings we've already gone over. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 58.06%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 12.20 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated 14 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 59.83%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of last week Friday, it was at 46.18, and then for the close of yesterday, it is at 58.06. So that is a significant increase right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 13.56%, MULLEN does continue to have short squeeze potential. So for my final thoughts for both of these stocks, let's start off with LUCID. So like I was saying previously, it was able to close above the psychological area at $20. So the next level that you want to look out for is at $20.61 to see if you can make that move back to $21. And if you forgot, my short-term price target is around $22.50. I want to see LUCID being able to get up there. And also taking into consideration of the fact I want to see a higher low. When we're taking a look at the chart, it does continue to be on a bullish uptrend. So if we have a continuation of that, I would love for support to hold going into tomorrow right at $20. So let's see what happens. And as far as for MULLEN, yes, it is barcoding. It saw a low of the day at $1.02. And of course, that high where we have some resistance is at $1.10, which we are fully aware of. But the next level that we want to see it get to is around $1.14. So will it be able to make that move up there? We're going to have to wait and see. But for the most part, it is on an uptrend despite the fact that it hasn't been moving a lot. And we also have to take into consideration that Tesla does have earnings that's going to be coming out in the after hours. If they end up having a surprise and they end up running up, then I can see the whole entire EV sector wanting to run with it. So that's why the price action that we saw on the day, we have to take notice of that. And also for tomorrow, we could have some more momentum coming in, and stocks like MULLEN and as well as for LUCID could benefit from this, and as well as the other EV plays that I talk about on this channel. So watch Tesla and pay attention to those earnings. Hey, I might be able to put a video out where I'll be discussing their earnings as well, but let's see if they're able to come out with those numbers before I start recording. As far as for the overall market conditions and taking a look at the SPY, we had a strong run up. If you guys were able to catch my video earlier this week, I think I dropped it on the weekend going over SPY and as well as Triple Q. I was saying that SPY, the move that I want to see is it getting to $393. And you know what? It was able to get there inside of the pre-market. And of course, I'm looking forward to be there during regular trading hours as well. And now that SPY has made this move, now we have the possibility where we could see $400 for this week. Of course, this is going to be dependent on Netflix and as well as for Tesla. I had the opportunity to take a look at the Netflix earnings real quickly, and they definitely did some sandbagging. They were saying that, you know what, we're probably going to be losing around 2 million subs, right? But in this particular scenario, when they released their earnings, they only lost like 970,000 or something like that. So that is definitely far off. And as far as for their earnings per share, they were able to beat on that, but the revenue did fall short of estimates. So just taking all of these things into consideration, Netflix didn't do too bad whatsoever, but let's see if Tesla can do well, because if they do well, I can see the market continuing to trend up. So I hope hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how these stocks perform going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.